Hello, welcome to Chilling with Corona. Namaste, Namaskaram. So, today what are we going to think about? We all believe that the greatest industries in our nation, the IT industries, the manufacturing, the telecoms, um, car manufacturing, different types of manufacturing, are those that are upholding our country uh, always and putting its name on the map, etc., etc. But I just want to share one small thing to you. The most essential activity, economic activity that a nation has is agriculture. Because without food production and agriculture, no other business, no other industry can function. Because without food, we can't function. Food is our fuel. Okay, if human beings need to exist on this earth, we need food, and that is our fuel. So during this time of lockdown and economic uncertainty, that is what I want to bring your thoughts back to. Okay, so we are all going through this lockdown. It is very stressful. I know it is very stressful, and it is stressful wherever in the world you are, because there are people who are homeless, there are people on the streets, wherever you are. Just yesterday, I went out to the store to buy some food. I saw a homeless elderly lady sitting on the steps. She had slept on the I asked her where did she sleep the previous night. She slept on the library steps, the porch, and it was so cold. Last night was so cold. So there are homeless people, there are people suffering, and we all try to help them as much as we can. And we need to look at what we can do in India, because India is a place where there aren't many social security measures, especially if you look at Kerala. It has been in lockdown for the past 2 to 3 weeks. So, what can we do now? What should we do now? I know the government is looking at removing some layers of the lockdown, etc., etc. But I want to petition, I want to say to the government, especially of Kerala, if you're looking at removing some layers of the lockdown, the most important part is the agricultural sector. See, what happens when we are in lockdown, okay? So we are all sat in our homes, 20 to 21 days, that's about 3 weeks. So what happens then? If you had been infected before the lockdown started, by this period of 2 to 3 weeks, if you were infected, your symptoms should have come out. Okay, so if you have just been sat at home, not going out, not interacting with anybody else, then you're safe to say that you do not have the infection by now. Okay, if you have been in kind of isolation, kind of quarantine for the last 14 to 21 days. So, what is the best step to take forward? And I said this video is about coconuts. Did I say that? Okay, if not, now I'm saying this video is primarily about coconuts. So, in Kerala, we have a lot of coconut trees. അല്ലേ നമുക്ക് ധാരാളം തെങ്ങുകളുണ്ട്. So it is very important we look after our coconut trees. That's just a small example, to be quite honest, because we all know that dried coconuts on coconut trees are a danger. They drop, they fall. So what happens when economic activity in the agricultural sector is stopped? When we don't have people climbing up the coconut trees and dropping those coconuts? Just like in any of the other sectors, those coconuts are going to stay up there, and once they dry, they're going to fall and they're going to cause harm and damage. So, what do we need right now? What is my petition? This is what I ask the government to do, and this is what I ask any public servant over there who can influence the government to do is this. See, we are divided in Kerala as well as across India as panchayats and wards and residential associations, etc. Take a group of residential associations if you are in the city, or a group or a ward if you are into the ward or a panchayat area, a small defined area. Okay, and if you can get people to do the basic laboring work, people who are skilled in climbing up coconut trees, people who are skilled in farming, people who are skilled in taking in the farm produce, get that, let that happen inside that small defined area. Because in that small defined area, if people are not moving outside, if people are not interacting outside, their risk of getting an infection into that community is very small. But as I said, the key thing is that all this economic activity needs to happen within that small defined area. We need to be able to bring in the farm produce. If you are growing something, you need to be able to sell that. So we need this form of localized economic activity on the most fundamental and basic of our produce, that is our vegetables, our coconuts, our food, any other foodstuffs that we require on a day-to-day basis. So this is the most important and most key thing. We should not allow our food, good food, go to waste, go to rot, and go just lie around in the fields. So this is something very important. You need to think about it, how you can make this work in a small localized area. I'm not talking about people moving and getting in workers from a different area to come into your area and to do the work. I'm talking about small localized areas where people have been in lockdown, people have not been interacting with outside of that area, things that you can do within your area. And this is very important. Otherwise, we all know, those of us who get a salary on a monthly basis or a fortnightly basis through some kind of like, you say you're a central government worker or a state government employee, yes, you get a salary. But what about those who just make their daily ends meet by daily wages, especially those farmers, especially those workers who work in farms, especially those who climb coconut trees? We have to think about them, and they too need food, they too need to be able to get their family going. So think about this and see how this will work in your community. This is very important, because agriculture and production is the bedrock of our society. Thank you. Namaste. Namaskar.